Somebody, yes, yeah.
A post-it?
Alan, let's put this post-it over his eye. I can't stand looking at you right now. I can still.
No, you can't see
your whole
through
cheek
that.
twitches. We'll go this way.
My face cheek?
Your face cheek.
Okay.
It's off-putting. I'll tell you that.
I wish there's got to be a cream or something that you could put on it.
That's what she said.
Twice in the same podcast.
This segment of DoD TV is brought to you by Leupold, American to the core.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dreary Outdoors 100% Wild podcast, powered by DeerCast, powered by Matt Drury.
And Tim Shelsvik.
We're the two powerhouses.
We're something.
Actually, I think the plural of houses is house I.
Well, we're more one powerhouse. You're still working out, and then there's me, and I've just basically taken the fall off.
Together, we are one man.
You're the left and the right. I'm somewhere, I don't know where I'm at.
Someone on the Facebook Rack Pack was like, I love the humor between you and Matt. He said something like, you were the voice of common sense.
Which is incorrect. I'm the one that runs the soundboard.
You're the fart man. I bring the farts, yo.
Can't be
That's my thing. Oh, man. Well, so we've got some new Rack Pack members that we want to introduce here in a second.
Okay.
But so just so people know, we don't have a guest for this episode.
So you could tune out now or tell your friends and tune in. These tend to be the better episodes.
They do. And I'm not sure why.
Well, I know why, because I use the soundboard more.
People just want the sound. In fact, before we started, you had a symphony of soundboard effects, and it ended with, just look at him.
I couldn't reproduce that if I tried. No. All I did is I basically used it like a keyboard.
Yep.
And just do. And then like 50 sound bites came out, and then it ended with, just look at him.
It's kind of how you live your life.
And then we laughed a lot.
Yes.
We should have been rolling.
Then we giggled. Then we started the show.
Yeah. I still don't even see where that sound bite is on here.
Well, maybe by the end of the show, we'll figure it out.
I can't read.
I doubt it.
Well, we got some new Rack Pack members. If you're unfamiliar with the Rack Pack, it is a group on Facebook that it's a private group. You have to answer some membership questions.
Hard-hitting questions.
And you get a little behind the scenes to the show, and you get some teases. Like last week, I teased my butt kill, and it ticked some people off because it was too much of a tease.
Oh, you're a tease. But nobody's ever told you that.
Well,
no. Moving on.
as his mind drifts off in time.
I'd love to put a tease about a buck kill in there, but it's not going to happen.
Oh, crap.
Just
a hypothetical buck kill.
Things haven't gotten any better since our last podcast. But it's gotten really super warm. I mean, like,
it's weirdly warm.
Yeah. Yesterday it was shorts weather, basically.
Sharts.
I was looking for a specific one. So I haven't hunted a ton over the weekend. It was Lola's birthday last week, Thursday, so I didn't hunt Thursday. And then Saturday we had a birthday party, so I didn't hunt Saturday.
Good man.
And then, yes, principles. And my wife would kill me, more importantly.
Also that, but more so principles.
Yes.
I was not tempted.
And then Sunday was so nice. I was just like, all right, I'm not going Sunday, and time change. I was like, I'm not doing this today.
I took Sophie out on Sunday, and we sat in the blind, and it was weird. Like, first off, my son wanted to come, and then he didn't want to come, and it was just a whole thing before we left the house. I was like, this is just a circus waiting to happen. So Sophie and I went out. She's dying to kill a buck, and I was like, it's not gonna be the greatest. You sure you don't want to just hang out in the neighborhood, play with your friends? No, I want to go hunting. So we went out. Within the first 15 minutes of being in the blind, she starts saying, Dad, 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 Dad. And I look, because I was like messing with the camera or something.
Weren't ready.
There's a doe. I wasn't. Neither of us were ready. A doe is running at the blind at breakneck speed and puts the brakes on at like 15 yards. She's chased by a little 8-point buck. Like, it would have been a dream buck for her to shoot. And my mind is just paralyzed, and I'm like, get on the crossbow, and I'm trying to get the camera started up. And these deer are just like dancing back and forth in front of us.
Like the 2-step or
the 4-step.
Okay.
They've got 4 legs apiece. They're whitetails.
The 8-step. Right. There's 2 of them.
A lot of legs out there.
I can do math.
The short of it is they were there for probably 10 seconds in front of us, and then they ran off, and we saw 0 deer for the rest of the night. So it was probably a 3-hour sit.
3-hour waste of time.
It was for her though. It's just like, it's so crazy because we just walked past that spot, and then all of a sudden these deer just show up. And for her, it kind of reintroduces the magic. Like, we get in this blind and anything can happen. And I mean, I was really surprised to see any deer with the weather and how it was. But it was a positive experience. Still, she has not killed a buck, and the quest continues there.
I know the feeling. We did see.
I'll take you out deer hunting next week.
Please, that would be fantastic. Saddle up.
Yes,
giddy up. So we went Friday, Scott and I, and we went Friday morning. We basically hunted all day Friday, and we felt like buck parade had kind of started, and we were seeing, well, first of all, this is a real kick in the pants. So we go into our set, and I get, I start getting some cell camera pictures, or I start looking at my pictures once it gets daylight, and
it's not the old gentleman that was drinking.
No.
Okay.
This time it was one of the deer that we're after, Mr. Squiggles.
That's a tough name.
He's just a giant. He's a giant 8. Like, I think he's potentially 6.5 years old. I mean, he's a big-bodied, big-frame 8-point, and he's got like a squiggly main beam to him. And so, anyways, he walked into basically under our stand, like, and on the path to our stand, about hour before we walked in. And he kept going, I think.
Sure.
We never saw him. But then I felt like the buck parade was starting because we saw 1.5 years. We saw 2.5. We saw 3.5 out in the field. I mean, we just started seeing it. We saw more deer than we had more bucks than we had seen since we'd hunted this piece.
Sure.
And then, so we hung in late. And then we got out briefly, went and shot my bow, did a few other things that we had to do. And then we jumped into a blind, and we were debating. So we had 2 different blinds I was wanting to go to. And we did a coin flip.
Did you pick the wrong one?
Well, we coin flipped twice because I was like, I coin flipped.
I didn't get the result I wanted.
I didn't get the result I wanted.
It's not how coin flips are supposed to work, man.
So Scott's like, do 2 out of 3. So we did one more, and it was the same result. And I'm like, okay, I guess we better go to the blind I don't want to go to. So
I don't remember this tactic in any of Mark and Terry's breakdowns.
That's far more. That's like high level.
Oh, okay.
Like 300 course class. I am
Gotcha.
down in 101. I'm actually a gen ed. I'm in the gen eds right now. Okay. And we flip coins to figure out where we're going.
The DeerCast coin.
Yeah. So it was a dime because I didn't have a quarter.
Well,
who has coins these days? So we went into the spot. We were pretty early. I mean, I felt like we were pretty early, and I don't know where it was hot. It was starting to get hot. It was the start of the warm up. And sure enough, here comes a mature buck that showed up on camera the day before, come running into the field. Scott's grabbing the camera, I'm grabbing my stuff, and then he's running. It was all 10 seconds.
Okay.
Why are you laughing?
Did you grab your bow also?
No, I didn't, because he
You
was
just grabbed your stuff.
Yeah, grunt call. I grabbed that new buck bark call from HS.
Yeah.
And first of all, he was staring at us. And here was where we screwed up, because I decided not to use the doe decoy for this hunt, because we're in kind of a tight spot. We've been using the doe and buck decoy a lot.
Tight in the sense like the visibility wasn't great? Okay.
Well, I mean, it's a long field, but it's a skinny field, and it's on top of a ridge.
Okay.
So what's
like
happening, they're jumping back and forth from timber to timber.
Okay.
Right? And it could happen at any time. We knew this. It's kind of probably more of a gun spot, to be honest with you, because they show up pretty far down the field.
Okay.
And we're sitting on our biologic finally kind of came up because we started getting more rain there in October. And so it's radishes and weeds and grass and then beans, 2 acres of beans. So we're trying to feed them from bedding into the biologic out into the beans.
Okay.
And so what's happening is the does do that. They do what we would want them to do, but the bucks come out everywhere and they're just cruising back and forth. So basically he was cruising looking, I throw up the binoculars. It's brand new at the time. I couldn't figure out what shooter he is. Cause I'm trying to figure out who he is.
Yeah.
And if he was mature, I was going to try to call him in. We didn't have a decoy out there, which I think screwed us in this position, in this specific spot. I think if he would have seen a doe decoy, he was very intently looking for an available doe.
Sure.
So I throw up the binoculars. I'm trying to figure out who he is. He's mature, but I couldn't quite place who he was. And I could just see drool. He's panting. He's, his mouth's wide open. He had been running hard.
Sure.
And he looked down the field, didn't see what he wanted. And then he, kept on going. And as soon as he kind of ran, I figured out who he was and threw up the grunt tube and started, grunting. And he was already in the woods and down a mile away probably. Great. So we're like, dang, 345, man, mature buck. Heck yeah.
Nothing but potential for the rest of the day.
Nothing but potential. So then 3.5-year-old pops out kind of behind us into the beans, feeds off 8-pointer. And I'm like, hey, yet again, it's a buck parade today. We haven't seen one doe. So things are great. And we never saw deer again the rest of the day. It was a long, hot day. Yeah. And right at last light, I shut the window on the blind. Out pops 3 does, out pops 2 more. These deer out there are so nocturnal, it's ridiculous. I mean, they are scared of their shadows, and we're just fighting it. There's no way to make them move sooner. The buck parade had the bucks moving a little bit, but not the mature. I had felt like the real shooters we were after are starting to lock down already. And I feel like right now, as of today, the 9th, they're fully locked down on this particular farm. I was talking to Terry. He felt like his are fully locked down as well. And we're talking the most mature deer in the herd. I still get tons of pictures at night of young bucks looking and, nose down and checking and all that stuff. But I haven't gotten much for my big deer in the past 3-4 days. Now, it could be a culmination of it being hot too, but I feel like I'd be seeing them at night somewhat on the cameras and not really doing that. So I feel like my place, they're locked down. The moon didn't help. The hot weather didn't help. I was really hoping last week in that cold stretch that, our luck was going to change and we were going to see something daylight, but I just think the moon killed us. So looking ahead, we got cold weather coming Thursday, Friday here in our area. And I'm sure most of the Midwest is Thursday, Friday as well. And then the Missouri firearm season starts on Saturday. So moon gets right here. I'd say like around the 17th, I think you're going to start seeing some good afternoon movement. And
is this per the DeerCast dime or is this
the DeerCast dime? Yep, that's right.
Ding.
All right, 17.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Just for the kids out there, I think when you say flipping a dime on the street, I think that's a drug reference.
Well, speaking of references that we don't quite understand, somebody finally looked up what the pumpkin syndrome is. Tim.
And we're officially retiring it from the show.
Tim was pretty embarrassed of himself.
Yes.
And meanwhile,
and all the people that are listening, they're like, wow, didn't expect to hear that on an outdoor podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not anyone's favorite outdoor podcast.
No, not your favorite outdoor podcast.
Exactly.
Wear that proudly.
And this is just another reason.
Yes.
We're dropping references that we don't understand.
As soon as you said that this morning, several of the other guys knew exactly what it was in reference to. We felt like we tried to warn you. You kept insisting that it be put into wildlife words.
I'm principled. When I find something I believe in, I stick with it.
One guy didn't know. The producer, Matt, didn't know what it was. Scott, bam, chimed in right away.
And if there's anyone who's street savvy, it's Matt, producer Matt. So I feel good that he was on my team on that issue. Thanks, Matt.
Producer
Appreciate
Matt.
it.
Not to be confused with host Matt. Two different Matts.
Yeah,
I
two
can't do it all.
Matts.
And soundboard Matt.
Or one thing, really.
No, I can't do half a thing right. Especially is not hunting.
Speaking of not doing something right, I got a video of the safe buck running through my plot.
I saw that on social media.
He's put on some weight. Like,
he's a tubby. He's a chub.
His belly is just like wah 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 as he's going through the plot.
Somebody's had too many cookies.
Oh man, it was 2 days before I hunted that, which and he had his nose down, so he was obviously chasing. But it's weird, like there wasn't a prior a video or pictures of a doe going through there, so I don't know what he had his. You know
what though? I mean, the one thing I have noticed, like I'll get on these cell cameras, I'll get it triggers. And if they're running fast enough, I mean, you catch those reconics, especially catch a lot. But if they're running through so quick, it triggers and then you get nothing. Yeah. And then you might catch, if there's a buck behind it, you might catch that buck then. That's what I've noticed.
And that was that's probably about 20 yards from where that camera was to where so it wasn't like right in front of it.
That was video, right? You had it on video mode, daylight stuff.
Yeah.
What time was that?
8:30.
Yeah, you would have been there.
I would have. I just made the wrong call. I think, where did I hunt?
Somewhere stupid.
No, I think I was on the other ridge. Like, I think I was out there.
I'm out there and I'm loving every minute
of it, Jerry. So to me, it's like, I just got to log some time out there and eventually he's going to slip up and I'm going to be there. Maybe I'll drop my release off my bow. Not. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll stick them. Who knows?
Maybe you'll be a big boy. You know what? That's been my theory as well. Just be there. It's wrong. It's a wrong theory.
Crap.
Yeah.
So. Well, I'll do what I can. But I saw him. I was like, man, he is really chunked up for the rut.
Yeah, that is something you kind of got to watch out for because deer that I've looked at all summer long and, even in the beginning of the season, you're like, yeah, I think he's a 4.5 or I think he's a 3.5. I think he needs to be passed.
Steer's 12.
And then all of a sudden you're like, dang, I think he's a 5.5.
He could be 5 now.
Yeah.
He put on a couple years.
He gained a couple months in that time, but he's not magically a full year older.
But every month it goes by, his rack is getting a little bigger.
Yeah, his neck just swole up, his belly got fat. So just
same thing that happens to me during the wintertime.
Ditto.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Pants get smaller.
That's what she said.
We talked about welcoming our newest Rack Pack members.
Yes,
we probably should. And I will say, so one of these members is not real. Matt, you can read the list, and then we can figure out
who's
the fake person.
All right, Chad Roberts, Carrie Ulrich, Alex Meyer, Nick Whiter, Danny Bryant, Noah Wagner, Craig and Ashley Berg. I'm always suspicious of the joint Facebook accounts. We'll keep moving on. Jimson Wiltoot. Jimson Wiltoot.
I don't know how it's pronounced. It's the young man's name, so
I think he's fake.
So listeners at home, which do you think is real?
Craig and Ashley Berg, the joint
he's a
Facebook
lie.
account.
Craig and Ashley, that's not even a name.
Our Jimson Wiltoot.
You're saying it like you're an alien. Take me to your leader.
Well, here's why. Because it's Jimpson, Jimson.
Now, if this is some exotic reference to some horrific act, I'm going to quit the show.
Jimson. I'm sure somebody could dig up some dirt on old Jimson. Wiltoot. There. That's what you were looking for.
Yep. Everyone in there is real so far as we know, except for Jimson Wiltoot. So welcome aboard, everybody. We're glad to have you.
And Craig, get your own Facebook page. Jeez.
Yeah, man. I'll pay for it.
It's free.
Oh, I'll pay for 2 of them then.
All right. I see Apple Podcast 5-star review. This has to be fake news, but go for it. Let's see what this guy says.
From Barno 1136, he says it's worthwhile. And he says, lots of valuable information from guests. I enjoy the soundboard. If it wasn't for this podcast, I wouldn't have found my favorite podcast. Also love Mark being on the Working Class Bowhunter podcast.
All right. Cut it out. Settle down.
Well, I was just talking to Lil Curtis yesterday from the Working Class Bowhunter podcast. And he was like, I got to get you and Matt on the show.
Yeah, he's gone through all his other guests.
We're scraping the bottom. So we're going to do some kind of crossover stuff here in the future. So if you don't listen to their show, don't, because you probably will stop listening to us because their show's a little better.
Listen, it's different. All right. Some people like some things. Some people like other things.
Sometimes they drink alcohol on their show.
We don't do that.
No.
Ours is
we don't
kid
even drink
friendly.
anything. There's nothing in these
This is a fake
containers.
container.
Yep. It's all for the ambiance.
Listen, I want to bring something up that's been
It's
bothering
the second
me.
time you've told me to listen.
This entire. Well, start listening. Okay, so here's the problem. I don't know, Matt.
One
Can
of
you
them.
control the camera angles? Zoom in on Tim's,
Oh, it's happening, isn't it?
Tim's eye twitches like no tomorrow, and this thing. He blamed it on lack of sleep a couple of weeks ago.
It's still. I had a meeting until 10:30 last night.
Okay, so
The model railroad society got together.
all right, the geeks met up.
Hey,
So your eye's twitching, and it is freaky to look at. And in this scenario, I can't look away because we're facing each other.
Scott, are you over there? Will you grab my loopholes out of my bag?
I mean, just put a freaking eye patch on already.
I left my eye
Does
patches
anybody
at
have
home.
an eye patch?
You know what? I've got one of my masks. I can just put it on my eye.
Somebody? Yes. Yeah.
A Post-it?
Alan, let's put this Post-it over his eye. I can't stand looking at you right now. I can still.
No, you can't see
Your whole
through
cheek
that.
twitches. We'll go this way.
My face cheek.
Your face cheek.
Okay.
It's off-putting. I'll tell you that.
I wish there's got to be a cream or something that you could put on.
That's what she said.
Twice in the same podcast.
So,
Day is made.
Barno, thank you for the 5-star review. Bringing it all back around.
You look worse now. Not the glasses. The performance eyewear looked great.
Does it? Oh, they're full of crap, though. I wore them running yesterday, and they're full of garbage.
All right, so
So don't look at my eye, everybody.
I know Barno said that it was worthwhile, and there's a lot of valuable information from guests. There are no guests, so this is we're lacking a little bit today, but we'll try to grin and bear it. So,
Yep.
what I would like to hear from the Rack Pack, from our viewers, listeners at home, put the glasses back, put the Post-it over your face.
This is you making up a show on the fly, and I love it. So what I've been thinking about here recently, prepare these notes for this conversation.
No, I have notes in my mind. So what I'd like to hear is, what are some more guests that the listeners and the viewers would like to hear from? Because, I mean, we could get just about anybody except for Chuck Adams. I tried to reach out to Chuck. He was not interested. He was busy until this was August. I reached out to him, I think, and he said, maybe next year I'll have time. So
a lot of girls told me that in high school and college when I asked for dates.
I felt ashamed of myself.
Was Chuck working on more stocking caps?
I don't know. Chuck's a legend. If y'all don't know who Chuck Adams is, check out his Instagram. I'm going to give him some love, even though he gave me the Heisman. He's well worth following. This guy is like one of the, people talk about Fred Bear and, No Feathers, a couple of these guys, but Chuck Adams is right up with them. I mean, he has done it all. He's seen it all, and he's done it all with a stick and string in hand. I mean, he is pretty amazing.
Slang for a bow.
Yes. So check out Chuck Adams on Instagram.
We talked about Hank Parker at one point, who's a huge bow hunter.
Hank would be great to get on. I could get Hank on.
I idolized him. Growing up, I fished more than I hunted.
Yeah.
And I loved Hank Parker, watched his show. Sorry. You want me to just look over here the whole time?
That's the eye. That's the
Well,
problem.
then the audience has to see the friggin' eye twitch the
It's
whole
not my
time.
problem.
Well, we're going to see our views like tank.
Or go up. You never know. It's like a circus show.
Could we get like the black sensor, like the nudity sensor, and just put... I don't think they sell eye patches.
They do. My son's got one.
What?
It's for pirates.
Bring it.
Pirate eye patch.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a pirate.
I'll
That's two Seinfeld references in the same
A
episode.
Fusili statue.
All right.
I'll use the eye patch, and then when I'm done with it, he can have it back.
All right. So Hank Parker, guest.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be a great one. We've talked about potentially Dustin Lynch.
Yeah.
He's got some new music.
I was close to having him on, and then he
was sweepy.
He was on tour, and he overslept once, and it's been tough to get him back.
Yeah.
So I'll maybe send him another text, see what we can do.
Maybe I'll oversleep when he asks
Next
me to
I
play
know it,
with
he's
him
going to be on
stage.
Working Classes podcast. Those guys keep scooping me.
Stinkers.
Little Kurt.
Excuse my language. Little Curtis. You want to hop into the question of the day?
Sure. All right. The question of the day is probably brought to you by Tenzing. Go further, hunt longer. You know, that Tenzing pack, the daytime hang pack.
Yeah. That's my pack.
That's like my life right now.
Living out of
pack.
it. Yeah.
And if it's not in that pack, here's where you get screwed up. It's especially if you, so like.
Will you tell me to listen first before you?
Listen here.
Okay.
This is where you get screwed up, is when you have a system in place for where everything's at in your pack.
Yep.
And then at the end of the hunt, you're so frustrated, you just throw everything into the pack.
Yep.
Where that screws you is the next morning, the next morning's hunt, and you spend 20 minutes looking for everything.
That's tomorrow Tim's problem, not tonight Tim's problem.
That's exactly right. I love that pack. Zipper's a touch loud, but I like to, when I zip it open or close, I'm pinching. I'm doing the pinch.
What about the zipper?
Pinching the zipper, shut or open. But I don't think the deer mind a good zipper. In the middle of a quiet.
Sometimes at the end of the night, I'm so just like pissed. And I'm like, I don't care. I was here the whole time, you jackasses. Zip.
That's Zach's, or that's Scott's bag. When at the end of the day, I know if Scott's frustrated when it's 50 tacticams getting thrown in there.
It's the same thing as like when your wife is stomping around the house. You know,
Yeah.
like, ooh, this isn't good. Something didn't go well.
Or the K replies.
Yeah.
No, head at home, no luck. K.
Can't wait to eat those magic beans you're bringing back.
If you would go through my text chain of the fall, there's a lot of K's this year. Much different than last season.
Those are loaded letters, man. They're saying a lot in those. But agree on the hang time pack. That's my pack. And I have like all my camera gear in there. So legit, that pack probably weighs 40 some pounds for me. And I'm hoisting it up and stuff. And it's
why are you hoisting it? Why aren't you climbing with it?
Well, sometimes I climb with it. There are places where like I've got so much crap around the ladder. Exactly. Yeah.
Hitting every limb on the way up.
And grabbing stuff and just pissing me off as I'm trying to get up there. So yeah, but the EVA, the molded foam is nice because it protects stuff that's in there too.
That's the part I like the most. And it does pretty much stand up on its own if you're hunting out of a blind. So, you just set it there and put it up against it. It's not just falling flat and in the way.
Yeah.
Easily kind of.
Flaccid pack.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Okay. Oh, you stinker.
But no, I love the pack, and you can fit a bunch of stuff in there. I find myself towards the middle to end of the season not using the pockets quite as much as I did at the beginning.
Yes.
Everything was organized. I have it like basically now I have the part that goes around your waist, that zipper that you can, the pouch part. That's easy access to the pull-up cord, to the hangers, whatever you need, the lights, I use that one a lot.
Sure.
And then I'm finding myself using everything in the middle. Just,
the catch-all?
Yeah. So now instead of having all the different, using the pockets like I did in the beginning of the season, when I throw all that stuff at the end of the hunt into the middle, now in the morning, because I'm running late, I just reorganize it at the truck in corners. All right. This is your corner buck bark. This is your corner rack jack. This is your corner water bottle. Try not to get it close to the other things because it makes too much noise.
Don't want it near the dough piece.
No, that typically goes in a pocket.
That goes in Scott's pack.
Scott has no room in his pack. He's got 50 cameras.
He's got a lot of stuff.
He's got so many cameras, he has to carry one in on his neck.
Well, I'll say like with this warm week and the hunting's been so bad, I've used it as an opportunity to like reset all my stuff because entropy takes over and you get like crap all over the place. You're not as disciplined in your organization process.
Yes.
So.
All right. So that question of the day. Sorry, I'm sending Aaron Bennett a text message.
Dear Aaron, I miss you. Love.
And this is unprofessional.
Matt. Heart.
Okay.
All right. Chris
question
Barton.
of the day.
Let's
it
hear.
Says, if you could choose only one, which would you pick? Scent Crusher locker or gear bag?
And we could hear from Chris if we wanted to.
Oh.
Hey guys, Chris from Missouri. If you could only get one, what would it be? scent crusher locker, or scent crusher gear bag?
So Chris is wanting to know, like, what camp do we fall in? The scent crusher locker or the gear bag?
I'd have to ask what his hunting setup is. And the reason why that's important is if he's driving a long way to his hunt, or even 30 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, I would go for the gear bag over the locker. If you're hunting like Mark and Terry, they're hunting at their places.
Yeah.
I'd go for the locker. It's easy. You just put your stuff back in there. Your pack can fit in there. Your boat could fit in there. Whatever you want in there. But if you're like, I have both, and I find myself using, humble brag. I find myself
I don't
using
have to choose
the gear bag the most because it's in my truck nonstop. And as Mark liked to point out and make fun of me last year, I believe, when you don't kill anything and get any blood on your gear, you don't have to wash it often. So I'm using the scent crusher gear bag the most. And I basically just run another cycle through it after every hunt and before every hunt. And it stays in my truck. It never leaves the truck. And if you need to, bring it in the office, plug it in there, whatever.
Yep.
The locker, like Scott here at the office, he uses the locker a ton because he's putting all his gear, his pack and all that stuff in there. And he's got to bring the camera in to take out the cards and all that stuff. So he puts the pack into the locker. So I think it's totally dependent on your application and how you're hunting.
Agreed. I will also brag. The Scent Crusher is very generous. I have both units myself.
La-ti-da.
I was hoping you'd say la-ti-da.
I'm a real fancy pants. My name is Tim.
I mean, I got these pants from a hobo. I bartered for them. So
hobos. Not a word.
Now we're going to get letters from hobos. What's wrong with hobos?
I don't know that they listen to podcasts.
Oh, they love pod. They got nothing but time.
Those guys at the stoplight.
At the rail yard. No, those are beggars. Hobos are different. Hobos are willing to work for.
I'm pretty sure beggars have iPhones and listen to podcasts.
Oh yeah, they're making good money.
Yeah.
So beggars and hobos, we welcome you to the show. Okay. We'll take all kinds. But I will say, I practically live out of that the covert closet, like the big roller bag over the course of the deer season. Although like this week, because I haven't been hunting so much because the weather is not so great, I take everything out and put it in the closet and then run a cycle of ozone because I feel like I get better like perfusion of the gas around everything. I'm
sure you probably do.
Yep. So I think that's the one thing you want to watch out for. Like if you're jamming everything so tight into that pack, it's hard, or into the bag, it's hard to get. Yes. It's hard to get the gas all around the clothing.
Like that
That's why you need to run the 60-minute cycle. In fact, we were just talking yesterday here in the studio. We're going to start rating our number twos when we go to the bathroom by how long of a cycle we need to run on the Scent Crusher room clean. Was it a 10-minute clean? Is it a 20-minute clean? Or is it a 30-minute?
That was a 30-minute right there.
Yeah, at least with some paper towels. Okay.
Our show is just...
Let's have a palate cleanser, shall we? Let's bring this. Don't do that.
I can taste it.
Is it ketchup?
I think I can help with the whole pan situation.
I am on season 5 of my Office rewatch marathon right now.
Maybe that's why your eyes twitching. Get to bed. Get some sleep.
Watch in bed.
Okay. All right. Move along.
Wildlife Word is brought to you by Hunter Specialties. Woo-wee. Outfit yourself with the same calls Mark and Terry and even Matt Drury use.
Now, some have more success with them than others. So here's the disclaimer. Listen, the call sounds great. Sometimes it's the caller. Oh, sometimes it's the property.
Okay.
Sometimes...
If there's no deer in the woods to hear the buck bark,
that's what
does
I
the bark
realized.
actually bark?
It does not. We have plenty of footage of it barking, and I have come to realize the deer are not anywhere close.
I think part of the reason I killed my buck last week was I was using the buck bark and I was rattling. And I think when he came in to check it out, he saw that little buck bedded down and he was like, oh, this is the jackass making all the noise.
This guy did that.
Right. And I think that guy was like, oh, why am I getting pegged for this?
Yeah.
But
did you use the rack jack?
No, sir.
your Mr. Plumpkin's too embarrassed to use the rack jacket.
No, sir, I did not.
I have committed to it. I have left my rattling antlers in the truck. I'm committed.
Okay.
I don't mind. I think it sounds pretty good, honestly. I mean, we tested like 5 or 6 different plastics.
Polymers.
And it's
space age polymers.
Some sounded a little more deadened, and some were a little too plasticky. And I feel like we were pretty close, honestly. So
it's cool to be part of that process, like to get to see something come to fruition that you had some feedback on.
Yeah. Yeah. You won't use it.
Sorry. I'm just out over here killing deer.
Okay.
What can I say?
Whatever. Hope you kill the rest of the season and don't see anything.
Leucistic deer are different from albino deer because they, A, have generally bad attitudes, B, have dark hooves, noses, and eyes, C, have cube-shaped scat instead of spherical, or D, all of the below.
When it said leucistic, I thought it was like a disease.
Scott's hunched over, giggling.
Okay. I guess
it's a syndrome.
I guess it's B, have dark hooves, noses, and eyes.
You're right. Yeah. So, albinos have pink eyes and pink noses and pink hooves and generally have poor eyesight.
No kidding. I didn't know
Were you
that.
almost going to cuss?
Yes.
Let's mark this day down. Matt Drury almost cussed.
And didn't. That's the big part.
He came so close.
Yeah.
It'd be weird to hear you cuss.
I didn't know albino deer didn't. I need to hunt more albino deer is what the deal
It'd be
is.
easier to see.
It'd be easier for me to kill one, probably.
Yes. Would you shoot no? Like,
no, actually, I
it's
wouldn't.
legal in Missouri. It's not legal in Illinois.
Talked about this before. I would not. I don't know why. I just don't.
Scared?
No, I just think it's such a cool animal. I don't know. I'd want it
Seems
to.
like you're scared.
I'd want to live on, and not haunt my soul every night.
Haunted by the White. Oh, that's a great name for a book. You should kill one and then write a novel called Haunted by the White Deer.
Okay, let's move on.
Yep. No deer have cube-shaped scat.
Although
I'd love to see that.
I think they do.
Well, if you form it, then
If you step on it.
Waffle stomping deer scat.
Just say poop.
Okay. Let's do that.
We got a guest in studio here today. Aaron Bennett just arrived.
Uh-oh.
We need a little helper. All right. We better shut her down, Tim. I think we've had enough podcasts for
live
today.
studio audience, so we're not going to fare well with that.
We have a child in the audience. We have to stop.
Not good. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Again, if you have ideas on guests for us, shoot them over to the Rack Pack Facebook page.
Aaron Bennett. That should be a guest once.
Ooh.
All right. Let's shoot another podcast.
Let's do it.
All right. Till next time.
See ya.
Peace out.
Temperatures are going to be dropping. Perfect conditions for the skinny field. Got to focus on those afternoon hunts. Northwest Tree Stand, 5 p.m.
It's the easiest decision you'll make this season. Get ahead of your game with DeerCast.
So you want all your farts in a row?
Yeah. I want all the farts to be in a row.
Okay.
And then that way it's easier for me to reference and find them. I want the Terry sound bites all in a row. And I want the Scott. So if it's like a soundbite that Mark or Terry or about Scott or about, like a person soundbite of someone we know, boom, all in a row. I want the I got diarrhea by the farts. That only makes sense.
Yeah.
Right now, they're too scattered out. I want all the sound bites for movies to be in a row.
Consolidate farts.
Say that.
That's what she said.
So all those need to be in a row. And then we probably need to get rid of some of the ones I just don't use often.
Maybe we could pull together a meeting later on about sound effects.
Yeah.
And bring Mark in.
No, let's just be a meeting.
Consult.
A meeting on the minds for just our minds. And maybe Alan and Scott here.
I'd like to get a larger array of opinions.
I'd like to get some Seinfeld references in here as well.
Oh.
So,
well,
I'd also like to see your eye stop twitching. I think we should end.
Just look at this eye over here.
Just put the
normal eye.
Just put this on, please.
If I get conjunctivitis from this Post-it, workers' comp.
Hang on your caterpillar eyebrow.
There we go. I'm gonna pull it off, and the eyebrow's gonna be gone.
All right. So you got it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
I was taking notes.
All right.
Consolidate the farts.
And I got diarrhea next to farts.
Well, diarrhea is pretty much the same thing.
And I think I'm going to throw up also next to that. All right.
Okay, things that come out of you.
Yes, all in a row.
Okay.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV was brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's.